You're listening to The KYLO Show, the podcast where we talk about how to keep your love on no matter what and why whole healthy families are going to save the world. And it starts right now.
Hello and welcome to The KYLO Show. We are back with our second episode of questions.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. All your questions. If you want your questions to show up on The KYLO Show, make sure you go to thekyloshow.com and record it. It's so much more fun to hear it than to have to read it and then guess your tone. We can understand a lot from that tone, more than you think we probably can.
We get to know you a little bit.
We do, just
better.
a little bit.
You write stuff in. Sometimes
it's hard.
It doesn't read the way it was in your head. It doesn't read the same way. So we're like, wonder what that means.
What are you trying to say? So get on KYLOshow.com and record it. So much fun to hear it from you. So, but yeah, we've got some questions to answer and a testimony, as always. Just good stuff. So,
should we get started?
We can.
Let's do it.
Yeah. I don't have any chit chat to bring up, so I think we should just dive in. All right. Well, the first question for today comes to us from Sarah.
Hi, Danny and Brittney. My name is Sarah, and I am a single and have a question about waiting for the person that God has for me. I have been in a few long-term relationships, serious relationships, I should say, some of which were unhealthy, and have done the work to heal from those things and do continue to date at this time. I'm 32. However, do feel that I continue to wait and I continue to meet the wrong people who seem to be right at first and don't end up being the right person. So I'm just wondering, my question is, how do you not become disheartened when you've had so many failures?
Yeah. I'm not very good at speaking to this because I got married at 18, but I do think I think I have lots of friends who have been single into their 30s, and I've seen lots of them have not good relationships, and I think, man, it is so absolutely worth it to keep your standard as I'm not going to compromise on these core things. That someone loves the Lord relentlessly, that they're going to have a high value for stewarding that relationship for us together, themselves individually, our family, respect, and that they are able to have a mindset of growth, and that I enjoy them. When I've seen those things compromised, it's really sad, no matter how old this person is.
Yeah.
But that's, no doubt, it's hard and sad, especially when that's the desire of your heart, to be in a relationship that you get to share your life with.
I think that's where I would start too, is this gets harder and more discouraging when your mission in life is to get married and have children. And if you don't have another mission in life, then this one feels like a major fail, like I'm getting fired from several jobs that I wanted or something, or just I've lost a number of investments that went bad, and you're like, okay, well, if I am engaged in a meaningful mission with my life's energy, like, okay, I am investing day after day in something very valuable to me, something significant to me, could I say that if I never got married and I never had any children, would this life be, the life I wanted to live? And when the answer is no, then you are now putting in the hands of someone else's control your satisfaction with the life that you're living.
Yeah.
And that is, that's easier probably to say to a 25-year-old than a 45-year-old, but it's still the same. Like, my life is on a mission. I'm here for a reason. What is that reason?
Yeah.
Be able to answer that question and secure that, so that when you do find someone, that relationship is parallel.
Yeah.
Not perpendicular. You don't have to give up while you're alive to have this relationship.
Yeah.
Because that then transfers your mission to this relationship. Like, oh, no, that is way too much control over your sense of obedience, significance, connectedness. So as a single person, be sure that in your journey that you are clear about why you're on this planet, because you don't want to sacrifice that so you can have this marriage or this whatever. Like, okay, bring that with you into it so that there can be a synergy to the relationship and not just a sacrifice.
Yeah, totally. An unhappy settling is usually an unhappy marriage.
And I think in our defining the relationship, there's that whole analogy of, people meet at the airport, and they, one person's going to the Sudan, and the other person's going to New York City,
right?
And they're both just in love with their destinations, and yet they fall in love, and one of them changes their ticket. And pretty soon they wake up in a place they never intended to be, and now they're trying to figure out how to get the other person
to go where they were wanting to
change
go.
their ticket, you know? So you want to meet on the plane, you don't want to meet in the airport.
Totally. Yeah, that is all of that. I think there's some fun testimonies of different people that we know that whether they were in their 30s or 40s, that either gained clarity on their mission, and I guess in the unexpected timing, God showed up somebody that was willing to go on that same. They met on the plane instead of in the airport, but maybe other times they were flirting with people in the airport. And we're like, I don't think that's a good idea. But there's this. Somebody said this. You've said it before. I don't remember who it was of our friends, but I'd rather be happy and single than unhappy and married, or something like that.
Oh yeah, I'd rather be single than wish I was.
Yeah. So that's what I think about is, when marriage is the only goal that you've got in life, it's probably totally feels like that place of failure.
Yeah, it makes marriage way too expensive. When I have to, when I give marriage the source of my happiness, you don't control that, really, and that begins to be a pretty unhappy existence. Yeah. And so you want to be sure that you're happy coming in.
Totally.
you're happy coming in. You're not looking for happy. You're happy coming in.
Yeah.
And that will help ward off a lot of unhealthy decisions. Yeah. Because if you're desperate times call for desperate measures, that's exactly what you'll end up in. Is a lifestyle of desperate measures.
We don't want that for you, Sarah. So, vulnerable question. Thank you so much for submitting it, and we'll be praying for clarity and excitement around your mission.
Yeah.
I think that's my heart for you. This next question is written into us. So it says, I love the concept of feedback. It's another feedback one for us.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm wondering if having a warm openness actually is what leaves someone open to unhelpful feedback. How does someone draw the line while in a conversation when feedback goes from helpful to harmful?
Mm-hmm. Well, just know, what you're looking for, what you're willing to do with feedback. Are you willing to set it aside? Can you set feedback aside when somebody's, and can you, nod your head and say, thank you very much. Is there anything else?
Uh-huh.
Knowing inside of you that I'm going to have to take a look at that later. I'm going to leave that out on the front porch.
Yeah.
Because somebody says, hey, I brought you a pet skunk. Like, thank you. Thank you.
Sure.
Let's go ahead and leave that outside.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really know what to do with it just yet, but I know there's a pet skunk on my front porch.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, it's in a cage, and it's got a blanket over it so I can move it. But it's a skill that you develop in the presence of feedback. In a feedback culture, is that someone will come and usually it's not simply feedback. It's usually an opinion and or a judgment.
Totally. Yes.
And so you're sorting through. This is where you have to listen better than people talk. And you have to listen past their application of their feedback to your life, which is a sexy word for control. And you're like, okay, that piece right there, I could say things differently. And it probably would be more effective.
Yeah.
I could be more patient, and that would bear good fruit in my life. I can grow in humility, and okay, so I accept that I can come off as overly confident and arrogant. Okay, so I'm sorting in some stuff, but I am not an ogre that should be skinned and fried and sold at the local market. None of that's true. So I have to be able to listen past your deal, your anger, your frustration, your judgment, your wounds, your triggers. I have to be able to listen past that. And the more experience I have in a feedback culture, the better I'll get at all that.
Yeah. I remember our team had experienced some feedback from working together, doing this thing, and everyone on our team is very different. We all know that I'm the high D of the group. We've got high S's, high C's. We're all very different. But the feedback was really harsh, felt painful, and we did not have any fun where we were as a team. We had some feedback for them, but we knew that it wasn't gonna be received, and there wasn't really a relationship to nurture. So it was like, this is kind of a one hit deal, and we've learned never to go back there, or whatever it was that we learned. But the feedback that this person emailed in, I remember all of us just sitting on the couch. I mean, I was so angry. I'm like, oh, you want to come for my team, my people? That's mostly how I was feeling. And some of the things that were said about, my high S people that would never act this way or do these things, that there's judgment. And because we always recap after these things. And I remember you said, well, what are they trying to say? What are you hearing them say? What's the feedback we can receive? And I'm thinking, you want us to take any feedback from these crazy people? No.
We deleted it already. I don't even know what they're saying.
Seriously, it's gone forever. But I think it's just that example of, she's saying someone that has a warm and openness could get trampled on with hurtful feedback. And I think that our team, I know my warm exterior may look very different than theirs, but the experience was, it was hurtful. But the invitation that you gave us was, there's still an opportunity here. What would you like to do with it? And after I calmed down, and, obviously we're all like family here. So it was definitely like, oh, I can't believe so we all calmed down. We're like, okay, what can we receive from this really hurtful display of feedback? How can we listen better than they're talking? And, now we kind of laugh and giggle and like, okay, there was things that we definitely were able to look at, but it was a great opportunity again we are a feedback culture. I think that, we've never received that from anyone anywhere. And, I would say that we have a warm openness when we're there. We're very grateful to be partnering with different people and different things. And it is this place of the willingness to learn.
And 100% of the time, when you have a clash of cultures, which I think is what happened.
Totally. Yes, that was a big part.
And it happens in families where, the in-laws, we take it so personally, but it's a clash of culture. I think this is super valuable, and what you think is super valuable, I don't think is that valuable. And you think what I think is super valuable is not very valuable. And what here we go. And so this coming together. So we give feedback out of the culture clash, and then we take it personal because I didn't listen past our culture, past your hurt, past your reaction, seeking control. I didn't listen past that. I got totally caught in the web, and I'm out there hanging, waiting for the black widow to come eat me.
My own emails of feedback,
Let me cast my web real quick.
Totally. Yeah. Which we didn't. We did a good job. Yeah. But it is this trap, though, to play the, web shooters, if you will. And I just remember in that moment, I was shocked that you asked us to even consider this person's feedback, knowing all that had happened. And I'm like, okay, it's one of those moments where it's an opportunity to learn. It's an opportunity the feedback isn't, and then you did your magic trick, as you always do. You gave the illustration of the tissue and then peeled off the corner and didn't eat the paper, but it looks like you did. All of that happened. Ta-da. But no, it's a hard thing but it's so necessary if you want to grow in creating a culture of feedback, is that your willingness to keep leaning in, even if it is harmful or hurtful. What were they trying to say?
And sweetness in a personality is also a coping skill. Like I just try to calm people down with my sweetness. I just try to avert confrontation with my sweetness. Like, who would hurt a sweet person? Don't you dare. Like, you better back off. You're going to feel bad. You're going to feel bad because I'm going to do everything I can to make sure you feel bad for treating me like this. And it prevents me from getting the truth because I don't tell the truth because I'm so sweet. I don't tell the truth, which means I don't have the courage to enter this arena to get my needs met. I don't have enough value for my own needs to enter the arena. And so sometimes sweetness gets overplayed in a dynamic, and I'm supposed to not tell the sweet person the truth.
Sure.
Because they're too fragile.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, so there's the other side of that whole thing, which is I'm so warm and accepting and accommodating.
I just have resentment inside bubbling.
And I hate your guts, but I won't ever tell you. And
oh, bless your heart.
Bless your heart. And so all that stuff is part of, as much as I feel powerless, I feel powerless. Would you like some biscuits and coffee, or whatever? Yeah. I don't know. That is terrible. What do I give you? Here's some tea and
crumpets.
Biscuits. Yes, something. All that. So don't be thrown by my British accent.
Yeah, I wasn't. I was distracted by what's happening. Okay, good question though. I don't know who sent it. So feedback is a beautiful, powerful thing. You just got to lean into it and learn all the things from it. So, all right, next question we have comes from Alex.
Hi, guys. Thank you so much, first of all, for the amazing content that comes out every week. My daughter is 4 years old, and I would like to know how I could use, in an age-appropriate way, the 5 KYLO principles to help her to be more genuinely sorry when she makes a mistake. Thanks so much.
I think that this is just a practice. I mean, I don't know that you can magically make a 4-year-old more repentive, except for, give good information. We've talked about feedback just before, but man, when you smack your brother on the face like that, that's not very fun. That's pretty painful for him, for me. It's no fun, honey. What is that? What you want your relationship to look like with your brother? I mean, I would say the times I just found a video of Lincoln, and he was like tiny, and Addie's tiny, and Adeline grabbed something, and I'm thinking, man, it's been a really long time since we were having these kind of battles. Now he's sitting on top of her and farting. That's where we're at now.
Here we are.
Yeah. So it just looks different. It's kind of the same different. But it's this practice of creating a culture. For me, it's just you are modeling what do we want to create in our home. So you want to create the KYLO 5, then model this in how you communicate with her, how you, being a powerful person, honey, means that we manage when we get angry. I know you were angry at your brother, but we don't get to hit people because we're angry. That's not being powerful. I mean, you just start using this language and examples of stewarding these character traits that you want to develop in your kids. And it just becomes you have to weave it into your life if you want to weave it into their life. I think that's the biggest thing I always go back to is you cannot expect your children to replicate this if you're not doing it. Mm-hmm. And so that's step 1 for me is how does it show up in your life as being modeled to something that they can reflect and recreate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that example piece is paramount. Like you can't teach respect by being disrespectful. Totally. You can't teach responsibility by blaming other people. Mm-hmm. You just none of that's going to work. Yeah. So start there. How do you teach a 4-year-old to be a powerful person? Well, you empower them. Mm-hmm. You expect them to be a powerful person. You ask lots of questions. Yeah. And one of them is, so what are you going to do, honey? You got this big mess. Mm-hmm. Do we slap each other or not slap each other? Do mm-hmm. we grab stuff out of each other's hands or not grab each other's stuff out of each other's hands? Mm-hmm. I remember that whole video where you thinking the same thing. Do we hit people with our toys or we not hit people? No, you say no, not hit people.
Video games.
Yeah, video game.
Tay, if you want to insert that clip.
Yeah. It's not a toy, it's a video game. The ongoing practice of asking your 4-year-old questions mm-hmm. sends the thinking inside of them instead of you trying to drill them into compliance.
Yeah.
And you'll be super proud of them. You'll be so impressed with their thinker. If you see it. Yeah. You'll frustrate yourself with how long am I going to have to do all the thinking around here if you just bark out commands waiting for obedience, right? Mm-hmm. So obviously they're even talking KYLO 5, so they're well on their way to empowering their 4-year-old. But the true act of repentance doesn't really show up until the person on the inside says, oh, that was a bad move. My bad. Mm-hmm. That was my bad.
Yeah.
Not you're upset. I better act sorry. Mm-hmm. It's, oh, I hurt my brother. Mm-hmm. I thought I just hit him. Mm-hmm. I hurt him. Okay. I'm starting to make the connection here. Okay.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? Say sorry. Is that going to clean it up? Do you think he's going to believe you? Here's more questions.
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, why don't you try it? I'm sorry. Hey, do you believe your sister? No. She just wants out of trouble. Oh, gosh. Oh, wow, that didn't work. What else could you try? And here we go. I'm now on a journey. Now, some parents are like, I don't have time to do this every single time. You'll do it once.
Yeah.
You'll take this much time one time. And then the next time, if this child doesn't figure out, hey, every time I hit people and say sorry, they don't believe me. The next time I say, what are you going to do? They go, I'll say sorry. I say, they don't believe you when you say sorry. Have a seat in this chair. And as soon as you come up with something you think somebody will believe, you can get out of the chair. Take your time. Well, how long I got to sit here? I don't know.
Yeah.
How long does it take to get people to believe you? The credibility problem, worst problem in the world. Don't ever, cheat on your credit card with the bank because they talk to each other.
Yes.
Right? Or the same person owns all of them or something's going on there. I don't know what it is. Don't even get me started.
No.
The credibility problem with your child is something that they could learn when they're 4.
That's I think the fabulous thing of culture that you're creating is being mindful of what is it that we want to create and develop. And so by asking questions regularly, that's something that we insert into our culture. So we're not just assuming, we are seeking to understand. Let's ask some questions. And, I've seen our kids ask each other questions to try and figure out what it is that they need or what's going on. And it's a fun process to watch that we started a really long time ago. And if your kids are 4 and you're doing the KYLO 5, I would say, Alex, yes, you're doing a fantastic job of, moving the ball towards creating some really self-aware and fun kids to be around, because you are working to develop a unit of a family that is connected and able to communicate and respond to each other.
And getting better and better at self-adjusting instead of needing to be adjusted.
Yeah. Also really great. Well, this is another parenting question that we had that came in, and it says, what would your advice be for a new stepmom that is trying to build connection with the kids that I have limited time with because the other parent is no fun? So this is a pretty common question to step parenting, is that the shared custody, and sometimes the previous parent, ex-parent, or ex-spouse, I should say, is, I don't know if they're threatened or hurt or scared or angry, but they create this dynamic where it's not fun for the new step parent coming in.
Well, the parent that is married to the step parent, hopefully there's a good relationship with the kids.
Yep.
Hopefully you're not trying to have a better relationship with the kids than he has.
Yeah.
I'm assuming this is.
It's a stepmom, so.
Okay. So that's gonna make this really a challenge.
Totally.
So that might be the first investment is, can you do a great job with your side of this so that we have a reason to, for these kids to come be with us. Otherwise, all the poison that's being dripped into the other end of this system may be justified. And, there's that. So I'd make sure that he is doing a great job of figuring out who his kids are, what they enjoy, what they need, and he can be supplying that, and she could primarily support that.
Yeah.
And then once the home is a place as a goal, despite the poison that's being poured in at the other end, then she can participate in what it is that they're enjoying.
Mm-hmm.
But if she's just trying to be liked
Mm-hmm.
while somebody's poisoning the well, that's going to be a really tough.
Yeah,
that's going to be tough.
Yeah, I agree. I think depending on what dad's relationship is with the kids is really going to influence a lot of her access to continue to develop a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
But I always tell step parents to, learn about these kids, learn what they love, learn how they hear love. And if you come in trying to replace mom, you're probably going to lose.
Yeah, not a great plan.
Come in as a friend, someone that's going to love you, someone that's going to support you, and then be that support to dad as much as possible, depending on that relationship. And, the blended families that I've worked with, when they've got one home that's pretty chaotic and dysfunctional, and then one home that's trying to recreate, the tools of loving on purpose in their family, they often are encountering the reentry time. It's not like now they're at our house, so everything's great. We can go back to what we were building.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times these kids need an adjustment period.
Oh, absolutely.
And so being aware of that expectation and that reality that every child's different. So some kids, it's a few hours, some kids, it's a couple days. And so your expectations for chores or being super connected and cuddling again on the couch watching movies, they might need time and space to just decompress, and knowing how to help them be successful as they re-enter. That awareness, I think, it has helped a lot of blended families be more successful to, okay, we're going back to our culture, back to our way of doing things, when they've got more grace for kids coming back in.
And I'd really front load that early period with focusing on the connection and not focusing on the structure primarily, because rules without relationship leads to rebellion. I don't know if Dobson stole that from somebody or if that was his, but I remember him
I've heard
saying,
Bill say it.
Yeah. So wherever it started, I don't know, but I remember the penny dropped for me when I heard that, like, this is the antidote of connection, is love casts out the fear.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we try to enforce our rules without the connection, then people just feel controlled, and they will find an end around. We call that rebellion, but they'll find a way to get their self-control back in a place of lots of rules. Like, look at prisons. Prisons are some of the most highly functional crime networks in the world because of all the rules, and people just find ways around all these rules. So it isn't that the rules are bad, it's that the connection is poor.
Yep, so true. I think that there's blended families, single parents, grandparents parenting, there's the concept of family is very different than, the definition of family, I should say, is just changed so much. And I think that having a place that's going to help you feel successful and help you feel encouraged and help you feel like, okay, wow, that was a hard week. I got to get back in the game. I need to refocus, reprioritize, get some strength, some courage. And, we've got this place called the KYLO community that there's lots of opportunities for whoever this new stepmom is. She's wanting to embrace it well. That's what I hear in this question is I want to do a really good job. And I think that on this journey, you probably need some great support. So if you haven't signed up for the KYLO community, that's something I would suggest that you do, because it's going to be a place where you're going to get lots of tools and resources, and you're going to get really the support of a community that's like-minded. So,
Absolutely.
So you can check that out at thekylocommunity.com. It's a really fantastic place for anyone that's looking to just keep developing new skills and growing and being better at what they're called to be doing right now, which she's a new stepmom. So that's a big job. And I don't know your name, but I hope that you feel encouraged, and we believe in you, and Whole Healthy Families are going to save the world. It's going to be great. You can do it. We're going to jump into a testimony in just a minute. So
Awesome.
see you soon. All right, we're going to jump into our testimony. Today's testimony comes to us from Zach.
Hey guys, just wanted to talk and say how much KYLO and these podcasts has absolutely impacted my wife and I so much. We've literally been studying the book in and out, listening to every podcast. We simply just cannot get enough of it. It's also totally shaped our marriage and the way we communicate, talk to each other, serve each other. And it's just been absolutely amazing. So, but a really big part was I have a very dysfunctional family. And we had a lot of issues in like the beginning of our marriage and our engagement season with just having relationship with my side of the family. And so there have been times where there's been emails and messages that have been so aggressive, and we did not know how to go about it. And so when we started reading KYLO, it literally completely wrecked the way we see relationships and communication. And literally there have been times where we've had to write emails to my family that literally will have KYLO open on the side, and we will be essentially typing our email, going back and forth, reading from KYLO and typing our email, making sure we're not being passive and we're communicating well and we're being powerful people. So it has absolutely shaped the way we go about relationships and all that. And so I just wanted to say we really do appreciate you guys and love everything you guys are doing. Love you guys. You guys are awesome.
That's fun.
There you go.
I love that it's like the study.
Open book test.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Adeline always loves when she gets an open book test.
Totally.
That's what that feels like. You know, the crazy part is, you know, these guys are really trying to steward a new way of communicating, even in their family legacy as they build a family. And, you know, regardless of what his family or anyone else hears, you know, they get to feel good. Okay, because we're really trying to do this well. Mm-hmm. You know, the hard part is that someone's going to get offended. They're going to get offended. You can't change that. But what you get to walk away with is knowing I actually did a good job, and I'm proud that I put the extra effort in to try and keep my love on towards them and communicate, you know, assertively instead of being a victim. And that's sometimes the only reward that you get in relationships that you don't control, you know, mm-hmm. is that I did a good job. Mm-hmm. So, okay. Yep. I got peace with that, which is awesome.
Yep. That's what you can control on a good day.
Totally.
I did a good job with this mouth of mine, with these thoughts of mine, with this heart of mm-hmm. mine. I did a good job with all that.
Yep.
On the other side, if you're doing a bad job with yours,
yeah,
it's like living next to a neighbor that doesn't take care of their yard. You're like, dang.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It'd be so much more enjoyable if this whole neighborhood was green. Mm-hmm. But okay, well, I'll keep mine green and clean. Yeah. And here we go.
Mm-hmm. It's fun to think about, you know, as they expand. You know, it sounds like they're newly married or pretty young married still, but you know, they're gonna create a whole nother arm to their family that's got a very different foundation.
Right. And their kids will grow up experiencing something different when they go to other family members' homes or other people's homes, and they'll come home and go, "Wow, this is the place to be right here." I'll tell you what.
Totally.
Or you know what, that they are doing a lot of things very similar, and it feels very respectful. It feels very safe. It feels, it feels like our families would synergize really well. I enjoy that place. Like, right, that's what you're looking for. You're not looking to just endure relationships with other people. You're really trying to find places that you synergize with.
Totally. And I'm happy for them that they have found us, and they are utilizing.
They're doing it.
They are putting the work in, man. They've got their reps. Hopefully they're part of the KYLO community.
I was just going to say, I wonder if they're
Zach,
in the KYLO community.
You guys should be part of the KYLO community, okay?
Yeah.
If you're not, because I think they'd be really helpful if they've been studying. They've probably got some really great stuff to give away to other people.
Yep.
And so that's what we also love in the KYLO communities, having people that are been stewards of this material, that are giving it away in different ways.
And they're hungry, so it's fun to get with other hungry people and share what you're learning and what's nourishing your spot in life and relationships.
Yeah. And if we have an open book test, we know that Zach's going to do a great job.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
So good. Awesome. Love the testimony, Zach. Thanks so much. I don't know your wife's name, but I'm sure she's lovely. Tell her we said hi. And thanks for really working after creating whole and healthy families and helping us with this mission. We really appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, we will see you next time on the KYLO Show.
Thanks for listening. Never miss an episode of The KYLO Show by subscribing to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or watch us on the Loving on Purpose YouTube channel. Don't forget to submit your questions and testimonies to thekyloshow.com. The KYLO Show is produced by Allie Armerding, co-produced by Ashley Beck and Anna Hill, sound engineered and edited by Taylor Silk, and show promoter Krishna Zamora. Don't forget, whole healthy families, gonna save the world.